Okay,
All
sounds
right.
good.
I like it.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. This is episode 41, and we have a special guest here on Center in the Saint this week. Truly a gentleman that needs no introduction. The one and only, the pitmaster, John Hackleman.
Hey guys.
Hey.
What's going on, John?
Great to be here. Great to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming on the show again, and we appreciate it. So we're going to go ahead and get started.
Is it, can I cuss on here?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you can cuss as much as you want. Fuck yeah. That's our main listener base, man. Getting into it, right off the bat, John, we're in a new year. Are you a New Year's resolution guy, or how do you feel about that in general?
Yeah. I'm like, that's how I met Tony Robbins, actually. I'm a big planner. I'm an organizer. I keep track of stuff. I journal, I organize, I calendar. People don't think I do that, but I really do a lot. So yeah, I do. I have some New Year's resolutions, but I only have 3.
Okay, what are they?
I want to reach a certain goal at my gym, financially and student wise, at my brick and mortar gym. I want to reach a certain goal at my on my online. I just started an online dojo, so an online school, and I want to reach that. And then my third one is just I just want to keep 2019 how I'm training and feeling about myself, because it was an unbelievable year for my age, and keep my training regimen going. It's I don't know, I keep hearing how hard it is, but it's not. So I'm doing something right. I want to keep on the path, maybe even step it up a notch training wise.
So for 2019, what was your personal best for 2019?
I think the fact that I didn't get sick, that I trained 5 days a week. I have 3 really hard workouts a week, 2 medium workouts a week. I still train, I work the bag, drills and everything. So at my age, just actually waking up every day is a big enough goal. So the fact that I can do that and still perform in the bedroom.
There you go, man.
That's the best part.
One for me. But the fact that it's like, okay, all right, well, 1 more year. So
hell yeah.
I'm good. My resolutions, I feel good just having 3. I keep it simple, man. I'm a minimalist.
That's a good way to be, right? Makes it easy.
Right here. My favorite snack for all you guys. This is the best snack in the world.
Is that pork rinds?
Yeah.
No carbs. You're good to go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, keeping it nice and simple.
I'm so simple. I'm stupid.
Hey, I was listening to the interview, obviously, when you were on Joe Rogan, and you were speaking in that about how you never wanted to even get involved with fighting. Obviously, for the listeners out there, if you don't know, I'm sure you do, but Mr. Hackleman brought Chuck Liddell, coached him, started him, and brought him into the superstar that he became. You said in that interview you never even wanted to train fighters. So what's that road been like going through that, and where you're at now? You just spoke a lot about your resolutions being focused on your dojo, and that's what you always want to do anyways, is run a dojo.
So the fighting is the fighters. It's like if you're having a hobby you hate. Like, I don't know what that is. Like, I don't know. Like if you're a straight guy and you have to suck a dick, and that's a hobby. Hobby that I understand. And I begged Chuck not to fight in the beginning. And then came Glover and Cord and Ramsey and Tim Kennedy, but I didn't want anybody to fight. I love to train. I love to train with the guys, and we have a 10,000 square foot gym. Back then it was in my backyard, and my buddies had a lot of cops and a lot of guys at the hospital where I worked. It's just fun. Then all of a sudden, Chuck was like, "Hey, I want to try fighting." And I was like, because I hated my fight career, and I had a long one, so I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Did it? I got pushed into it, and it's a long story, but it was miserable. Every fight, every training session was miserable. So my life was pretty much miserable my whole life. No, it really was. But then when Chuck wanted to fight, it's like, he goes, "Come on, man! I want you to help me be a champion. How can you say that? How can you say no to that? Somebody you love, is like a little brother to me, and we're training and working out every day and having a great time." And he's like, he comes to my house, sleeps in my house, and then he wants to be a champion. It's like, oh, shit. That was like the worst of my worst nightmare. And I said, "All right, let's do it. If you really want to do it, oh, this is what it does. The guilt trip is like, I think you're the only one that can get me there." So I did it. And next thing you know, he's where he is, and other people start coming. And I love these people, like Glover.
So you were like a genie, man. He rubbed you the right way, and you made his wish come true. You made him a world champion.
Yeah. So, and then other people want to come in, and it just kind of. Then by the time he retired, I was like, I'm going to retire. But I had some guys that. I mean, I have one guy I've been training 4 years old.
Oh, wow. Who'd you been training since he was 4?
Yeah. What?
Who had you been training since he was 4 years old?
His name is Isaiah Rocha, and he's so now he's 8-0 as an amateur, and he's like 5-1 as a pro, and so he wanted to fight. So I mean, I can't say no to these guys. That he actually lives at the gym, and he's like. So I got him, and then Court, and by then Ramsey, so it was a nightmare. It's a nightmare, but I mean, it's a hobby to me. It's just a hobby that I love. My guy, I hate doing it, but I love my guys so much. They know I'm a basket case doing it. They know how much I hate it. But when that guy's done, when Isaiah's finally retired, I'm never gonna look at another fighter again.
Well, I hope you're able to let him reach his goals and pursue happiness with just a simple dojo life.
How have you been able to train as long as you have without with avoiding major injuries and all the issues that goes along with training for that long?
It's like I was thinking about the other day, because back in the 70s, early 70s, mid 70s, there was none of this CTE. They didn't give a shit about a fucking brain. Fucking, they didn't care about chronic, all that shit. They didn't care. Every single day at the gym from 14 on, we sparred every day. You warm up, you spar, you hit the bag, you hit the speed bag, you jump rope, you do some sit-ups, you're done. Every day was the same. And there was sparring was they put two guys in the ring about the same weight, and you just try to beat the shit out of each other. That was there was no like drilling or let's go. It was just going. You're swinging. Yeah. And the concussions were like so many. I can't even fucking count. Yeah. And so when I look back, I got a bad shoulder, and that's it. And every time my shoulder hurts, I thank God. That's all I got. I can even remember what a shoulder is after being hit so many times that I can even remember my wife's name or anything. So I thank God every day that that's all I got.
Yeah.
So did that, with what you just spoke on, the sparring every day, how much respect do you have for that in regards to CT? It's controversial because it's at the end of the day, if someone's choosing to do it, they do. So how do you go about that? Like, for example, Isaiah Rocha, is he sparring hard? Is he going to war every day? Okay, so you have adjusted.
None of my students, and we used to, my black belt, anything from green belt. My green belt back in the old days, Cecil Peoples, the referee, judge. We went to his gym to do a test once when I lived in LA. He should have said, you're gonna get arrested if this is how you test your people. You can't knock people out, kick them in the head, spit on them, and then expect not to get in trouble. But that changed a couple years ago. I just fucking saw the light, and they don't do it. And my fight team has gone up actually. Their win percentage is in the like 5 percentile. So whatever we're doing right, and we don't even spar anymore. I don't even let the guys hit each other in the head. I do a 2%. Well, they have to hit each other in the head a little, because if they don't, they won't be able to defend it. They'll lose. You know, they won't get used
timing.
To it. So what I do is I have a 2% rule. They hit each other 2%. They still have to block, bob, and weave, but I don't want them, beating the shit out of each other. Once in a while, they get, something slips in, and guys will be guys, and I let that slide. But it's nothing. Not even 1/100th what it used to be.
How do you think that translates once they get in the cage? Do you think that it almost increases the aggression because they finally get to let go?
I think if anybody says and these are the guys that have never fought. These fucking guys. Well, if you don't let them hit each other in training, they won't get used to it in the street. That's like telling a cop, if you don't get shot in practice, like with real bullets, you won't know how to do it in the street.
That's the fucking best way I've ever heard that.
Pretty much.
It's the best in the world, because the more you get hit in training, the less you're able to get hit in the cage, because your chin is like a girl's pussy. Once you lose your chin, or once they lose their virginity, it doesn't come back. It does not come back. So you can lose your chin. You can lose your chin in the gym, and then you don't even. Nothing. You're gonna get rocked. Whether you don't get used to getting rocked, you really don't. I know this very, very well. You don't get used to it. So if you get rocked in the gym, it doesn't mean you're gonna get rocked better in the fight. You're still gonna get knocked the fuck out. Same.
Yeah, makes sense. Hell yeah.
So one of the things I just noticed recently on YouTube is that fight you were discussing on Joe Rogan's podcast. Someone had uploaded it just a few months ago. One of your boxing matches, your kickboxing matches. I think it was from 1985.
My triple fight.
Yeah, you said you fought him 3 times.
Yeah. I got video of all 3 of them.
Yeah, I'm sure people would love to see him.
That was a fucking brutal fight. Yeah, all my guys here have seen it, because his last fight, the last fight we had it here in this town.
Oh wow!
Oh,
everybody came out for that fight. I was so nervous for that guy. Even my second fight with him, I was so nervous that I couldn't even sleep for like a week, because he hit so hard. And he outweighed me by 33 pounds.
Oh, shit.
So the first fight we had, I weighed in at 166. He weighed in at 199.
Oh, yeah, that's a big 30 pounds of difference.
That's a huge weight difference. And they kind of set me up. I was supposed to fight someone else, and last minute the guy pulled out. So I fought him as like they were saying, I never fought, and da-da-da-da. And this fucking guy was a brute. And he hit so hard, I had nightmares. And then when I fought him the second time, I knocked him out with a left hook to the head. The third fight was kind of anticlimactic. I broke his leg with a leg kick. We couldn't go on. But
so you were known as, I mean, I don't know how it is nowadays, but you were known as pretty much a madman when it come to sparring and all that, right? Like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like I was at Muhammad Ali. I was training at Muhammad Ali's gym, which was in LA, and I was on the Muhammad Ali boxing team for a while. And I remember me and another guy my weight, and he was like fucking mouthing off to me sparring. So we went at it, and they wouldn't let us. They separated us from the gym. They wouldn't even let us train in. At the Jet Center, when I fought at the Jet Center, Benny the Jet Urquidez, right?
Yeah.
I was sparring with, I can't remember his name. He's from Canada. He was the heavyweight champion. He won the heavyweight. He beat Maurice Smith for the heavyweight title. But anyway, we went at it so bad. Benny said we can never spar together again. So because me, sparring was just fighting in the gym.
Yeah.
Now it's not. It's like as far from that as possible. I don't want my fighters learning mistakes like I did. I don't want them making the same mistakes I did. My fighters aren't allowed to spar hard, and my fighters are not allowed to cheat on their women, and they're not allowed to fight in the street. Those three things right there, that will get them kicked off the team like that. They can't cheat on the women for sure, and they cannot fight in the street unless they're attacked.
That's a great way to mitigate, like you say, that cheating on the women in the fighting industry and everything like that. It is wild. I've had very good friends with success. I'm in Idaho now, but I was living down there with Dave in Stockton, California. We go to Tachi Palace, all those events and stuff, and you'd see these guys rise, but the drama created from cheating on their girlfriend would take them out of a fight.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't care about that. It has nothing to do with it. To me, it's just so immoral, and you're actually hurting someone. That's what
it's martial arts, like the loyalty.
Yeah, what?
The loyalty of martial arts. That's what.
When I was coming up, I didn't think it was loyalty. I thought you're supposed to cheat on your women. Everybody else did back home. I'm from Hawaii, and all the big time martial arts fighter guys did. So I thought I always did. Nobody ever told me not to. Nobody. So I tell my students now, that's the first thing I told Court McGee when I first started training. I said, you cheat on your wife, you're off the team for good. He goes, all right, coach, I never will. He's actually coming here today, Court McGee. He's on his way up here. He's going to spend the week with me. We're going to go over some stuff. But anyway.
Right on. That's awesome.
So you're known for having a unique training style with the wheelbarrows and the weights and things like that. Do you still currently have the original pit at your house? And I mean,
my team trains it every week. Every Saturday is wheelbarrow day, and then that's my wheelbarrow day too when I do mine. And then my team comes after I train, and they train. We have a cage set up. It's like it's actually a UFC, same size as the UFC. It's an octagon. Nice. So they train up there. Then they do the wheelbarrows and the heavy medicine ball, 100-pound, and so they still train there.
What was it like in Hawaii? Like you mentioned, I'm so fascinated when can you hear me?
Yeah, it's a nightmare. Hawaii's a nightmare.
So I was just thinking the 80s, and you're training to fight, and what was that world like? You had to see some wild shit, man.
I hated it every second. My mom thought I had an ulcer because I always had a stomach ache because I was so nervous. They hate white people, so I hated them. I had to go to school there even as a kid. It's like even the teachers hated Howleys. And
wow!
Just growing up there was like a nightmare. It's like walking somewhere. It's like, hey, fucking Howley, what are you looking at? Hey, fucking this and fucking that. And it's like, I started training, at 9 years old, and I just by luck, really luck. Thank God I found this guy. I found the martial arts instructor at 9 years old, and he was a brute. He was like in and out of prison. He was this brutal guy named Walter Godin. He was a Kaja Kempo grandmaster, and he was just fucking mean. And at 9 years old, I walk into his gym, and I was like, it was 600 square feet. It was a tiny, no kids class. It was just, he threw me in, and it was like, it was if I didn't do that, he made me so tough, so quick. If I didn't find my way to his gym, which I did on my own in the Yellow Pages, and I caught the bus there alone. If I didn't go to his gym at 9 years old, at nine, I would be wearing a floral dress right now. And no, seriously. And I not only would be gay, I'd be a bottom gay.
Oh shit.
Because he turned me around and he made me tough. So when I went to intermediate school, which is junior high school, I couldn't even believe that I was that person. Like looking back at it, like somebody asked me, told me give me their lunch money. I just beat the shit out of them, and next thing you know, I'm like walking around with long blonde hair. Most guys with long blonde hair, all the local guys are picking on them and say, "What the fuck you looking at?" And they were like, "Oh, nothing." By the time I was like fucking in junior high school, I was like, "What the fuck you looking at, bro?" And it just flipped everything, and it changed my life. And without Godine, like I said, I thank God every day I found him. And he passed away in 2001 after he was at Chuck Liddell and he was at his black belt test.
Oh wow!
So
Wow.
He was able to see me start the pit and come up and he actually came to a couple of my black belt ceremonies, and he was with us until 2001. So he's probably, besides my dad, he probably changed my life more than anyone else.
Right on. Right on. How much with, like, you speaking of, you know, bowling, we're in a very sensitive time of the world, so to speak, without saying too much in here. And it, obviously we can be against bowling, but something like that, you know, made you toughen up in who you are. And now you're an instructor. So how passionate are you about, is that where you find a peace within yourself, teaching students to stand up against that shit, but do so humbly? Or is that a ton of passion for you, or do you just fucking love it all in general? The fighting
and you know, we have the biggest martial arts gym in town. You know, we have you know, we have a huge gym. This is just part of it. We have fitness going on right now, but I mean,
shit.
during the day, that place is packed with kids. But I'm not even allowed to go speak at schools anymore against bullying. They won't let me in. I swear to God, they won't. All the martial arts school, like the consultants and stuff.
Yeah.
They go, "Oh yeah, you got to get into the schools, man. Then you'll get all the students." I was like, they won't let me in anymore because I did a few bullying seminars. Like, you punch him in the face. You punch him in the face.
That's it. Sock that motherfucker in the nose.
You don't let them take your lunch money.
Let me just say something. Bullying isn't like breast cancer. It's like you don't have to study and fucking, you have to do all these chemicals. You punch the person as hard as you can one time. Nobody will ever fuck with you again. They don't want to hear that. So I'm not allowed to go. So I do bullying seminars here where people can come from the outside. And I tell the parents right up front, like I say, I'm going to tell your kids to hit first. I'm telling you that right now. If you ever found that, you don't have to come. And so I've never had anyone leave. And my students know exactly what they're supposed to do. And, you know, they might, you know, some people disagree with me. Even some martial arts guys, you know, say there should be more of this and more of that. Anyone that says treat your attacker with humility or with respect or with whatever.
Never lost a fight.
Crazy. It's good. I will treat my opponents, and my students better treat their opponents in the cage like with respect. They better be humble. If they knock them out, they better not celebrate until that guy gets up, or they will deal with me. They'll never act like that. You'll never see my fighters act like that. You never have. But in the street, there's no respect. There's no respect for anyone who has the balls or the heinous fucking lack of everything to attack us. They get whatever they deserve, whether that's blinding them, rendering them in a coma for fucking months. They get what they deserve. Whether they're with a tracheostomy, you know, they deserve it.
You have to make people fear the repercussions of their actions. And I think that's what a lot of fucking people forgot. Like, if I'm walking around, I don't want to know potentially that I can get my head stomped in for being an idiot and trying to push some old lady. Like, that sense of repercussion, I feel, is relevant.
Yeah, it is. And I like, again, growing up where I grew up, I thank God I did now. I hated it then. I used to tell my mom every day when I come home from school, can we move back to the mainland? Because I grew up there. I moved there when I was 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom didn't know, because as an adult, she didn't have the same shit I was. She didn't have people picking on her all the time. But in school, fuck yeah. So she would just know. But I'm so glad I grew up there now, because it gave me a look on how to be and how not to be, you know?
Hey, the world's a better place because you grew up there, man. You've made my life better. I got to see some shit.
If I didn't grow up there, things would have been different. Like I said, I could have grown up in California and fucking been, you know, just some fucking beta bitch male.
Fuck
That's
yeah.
right here. That's my number one goal in this gym. Because there's the bullying, there's the keeping yourself safe. But I tell my adult students, which are almost all males, is like, my biggest goal for you guys is to turn any of you betas into alphas, and then I'm doing my job.
Fucking A. Yeah. We need more.
So going back to that, I know I've heard interviews before where you said you're kind of against having women fighting in your gym and stuff. You don't like seeing them get injured and stuff like that. Are you still open to training women fighter?
I have 2 women now.
You have 2 now? All right. You don't like it all.
But let me just tell you, women will never be equal as long as there's a men's division and a women's division in anything, anything at all. And my mom, who's like the biggest, like, oh, you gotta treat the women with respect, and you gotta open the door, and you gotta do this, and then she's like women's rights, and you men patriarchy.
What the fuck?
I was like, what are you talking about? You go on both sides of the fence, so they'll never be equal. But with that said, I'm telling you this: they might not be as good as guys. They might. We'll never know because we cater to them by giving them their own little division. It's like stupid as shit. But I'm telling you right now, after like this last fight, this past weekend, Macy Barber, women are every bit as tough as male. Every bit. They'll come forward while they're bleeding and they don't give a shit. The reason I don't like it is because number one, they're women, and I have 3 daughters. Number two, because we're okay with like scars and noses and cauliflower ears. When we're done our career, we look tough. We will fuck more chicks because of it. women, it just doesn't look as good. Yeah. So I would stop a fight like that if my girl got cut.
Well, that's what I think. Like, it's not even a fucking opinion. It's nature. We have testosterone and we're built for battle. We're supposed to protect, fucking, be civil. And women, they were born with estrogen and a sense of empathy. And to see women endure pain makes us it brings something up and up.
I'm a towel throwing in motherfucker. Look at as Big John McCarthy, when he gives his speeches like before the fights, talking to the trainers and stuff, he tells them, be like Hackleman. Then the referee doesn't have to get involved as much. Because I've thrown in more towels than anyone I know. So if my guy's getting hurt, I'm not going to let him get a concussion and fuck up. If he gets cut, I don't care. I'll let it go on. If I see my guy hurt, like rocked or something, the towel is flying in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of the things in Pride back when Chuck fought, I think, Rampage, you threw in the towel on that one. But that's something that most trainers don't do anymore. It's very rare to see that happen.
Because most trainers, that's not true. That most trainers, I can't say that, but because even my guy that helps me, like he's my captain of the team, Antonio Banuelos, he was a UFC fighter, tough as shit. If he was WEC, UFC, he was a tough as shit fighter. But he always says, when I'm about to throw in towel, no, let it go, let it go. So it's not like because I always think of trainers like never fought before, so it's easy for them to not, feel for the fighter. But I guess that's not really true because my guy Antonio, he's been in there probably 40 fights. But I don't know why. I just have a soft spot. I don't want my guys to get hurt. So the towel, and I tell my guys, I'm going to throw in the towel. If you don't want me to work your corner, please, I'm fine with that. But if I work your corner, I will stop it. And I've told my girls, if you want me to work your corner, I will. But no, if you get hurt, if you get cut, it could be a tiny cut, like a guy's cut. I'm throwing in the towel. So it's up to them. I don't fucking force them to make me work the corner.
And if you're open about it, it makes sense to me. And I mean, fuck, yeah. And you're medically educated, obviously. I mean, you've been around everything. You're in there with the fighters.
The nurse.
Yeah.
So sew up my guys.
Yeah. Oh, you do sew them up yourself? Do you do that or do you
up myself? I've sewn up Chuck 6 times.
Oh shit. Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
So,
Go ahead, Chuck.
I was going to see, where are you at? Like, I'm curious, you evolved. I was fascinated hearing that interview again with Rogan when you were talking about, it sounds like you were very much an innovator in the whole concept of MMA, from your style and developing judo with jiu-jitsu and striking and all that. How much has that evolved, and is that still your martial art? Are you still moving forward with
I
that?
started my own system of martial arts called Hawaiian Kempo, and that's a offshoot of Kaji Kempo, which is what I got my black belt in Honolulu. And I just took out everything that's choreographed, everything that looks like something that's not a real fight. I took it out. So basically, my system, and I added in hardcore conditioning. So you have to have equal parts of striking, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and conditioning, all 4 parts. And if you're missing one or more, it's a partial art, not a martial art. So you're a partial artist. And then, like karate guys that say, "Oh, I don't need to learn takedown defense. I'll just punch him in the face." They're a partial artist.
Yeah.
And if you got a jiu-jitsu guy who goes, "I don't need to do striking. I'll choke him out." That's a partial artist. Or if you have a martial artist that doesn't work out, they go to some other gym or something. That's a partial artist. Because to me, the curriculum in your art should contain all 4 of those aspects, or it's not a true martial art. So I took those 4, I put them all in my system, and I call it Hawaiian Kempo. It's Hawaiian is where I'm from, and Kempo means law of the fist, and that's what I teach. Nothing I teach is proprietary to me. There's no katas. There's nothing that's only Hawaiian Kempo. It's a left hook and a double leg takedown. Anybody could learn my system that knows MMA.
Yeah. Or do you have that, and you maintain a belting system through your art?
You created your own, if I'm not mistaken, right?
What?
Haven't you kind of created your own or added more belts to it, or
I got
something
14
like that?
belts from white to black, and I got kids from 3 years old all the way up to adults 70 years old, and it's a belt system. We wear a gi, we put on belts, and they get promotions. There's a belt promotion ceremony. We go to Hawaii every year, and I do a belt ceremony for my black belts. So it's a very traditional art.
Yeah.
But it's our traditions, and people that do stupid traditions that don't really care. And then when you ask them, "Why are you doing that?" I go, "Oh, that's a traditional. That's a stupid tradition, right?"
Yeah.
Evolution.
Yeah. So our tradition is we go to Hawaii for our black belt test. We love the left hook. We do a lot of takedowns. We train really, really hard. We have traditions. We bow. We have a specific prayer we do. So we have our traditions, but they're not going to get us killed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how have you, like, we had fun when Dave and we lived together. We used to train under Sensei Eric Shingu, and Chuck fought one of his guys, Steve Heath, back then. Steve Heath would come in, some of the other guys. We loved it. They would do on Saturdays, some of the guys on the SWAT team and the cops would come in, and we would do kind of like the street defense. And that's when we found out how much a gi, like when people say, "Oh, a gi is not relevant in real fighting," it's like, well, you're wearing a sweater. Yeah. And do you incorporate that part in with your gi and the jiu-jitsu to self-defense and in terms of jeans?
We wear a gi because I like my guys to be as uncomfortable as possible. It's comfortable when you're at home in bed, going to sleep, or when you're 90. But I don't want my guys comfortable when they're training, because "Oh, it's so uncomfortable." Yeah, you're supposed to be uncomfortable. But I don't let them touch the gi during street grappling, because I want everybody to be the worst case scenario. And the worst case scenario is the guy doesn't have a shirt on.
Okay.
So if you get used to grabbing this or grabbing this to get him into a position, and the guy doesn't have a gi, then he's going to be in a world of trouble. And
you don't want any reliance.
In a fight, I want them to take their shirt or jacket off right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can get strangled with your own shit. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
So I was watching your YouTube page, and I noticed some of the self-defense videos that you put up. mainly the one where the guy's sitting down and he comes up and gets stabbed, and you kind of show a defense to that. How important do you feel like that is in martial arts nowadays for people that can't really train all the time in a specific martial art to learn some sort of self-defense techniques to keep them safe on the streets?
I think if you don't, there's nothing. I mean, there are guys naturally strong, naturally athletic, naturally skilled, just naturally. But that, I mean, that's like, I don't know. That's like, saying some guys can hold their breath for 3 minutes, so they're not going to drown. But not everybody can do that. Yeah. That's a small population. To me, if you're not training regularly, but you're brushing your teeth, then that means you care more about gingivitis than you do deadivitis. Or if you're your average woman who spends about fucking 40 minutes a day putting on her makeup, that equals, by the time they're 70 years old, that comes out to about 3 years in their life. All they did was
fucked up.
That's crazy.
So if they don't have the time to spend, I say, I'll go easy. I'll say, if you break it down, you can spend 10 minutes a day on your fitness and your self-defense. That's bare bones. I think most people should spend closer to 20, and you can get an unbelievable workout and work all your techniques in 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week. And that's less time than the average woman spends trying to look pretty
when her fucking man.
So she can get like, that's why they put on makeup. So I don't even know. My wife's going to be out there. She's doing push-ups right now. See my wife doing push-ups in the front? She's training right now because she's listening to this shit. And she wants to get stronger so she can kick my ass.
She's like, yeah, I fucking heard you.
I don't want no deadivitis.
I always make the joke, man. My wife was born in Russia.
Oh,
and
shit.
she moved here when she was 8, so I'm always joking about, fuck, man, when she gets activated, I'm screwed, because she's always tougher than she pretends to be,
And then you'll just hear her randomly speak Russian, like, perfectly.
Yeah. It's fucked up.
Mine just speak like English, like fuck you English all the time to me. So hey, but she knows how. She's like, and I have a political Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, which I keep secret because I don't want my students to hear it, because it's really, 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 really political. And my mom who's the opposite of me, she goes to it. I go, why? She'll call me. She goes, I can't believe you. Who raised you? Why would you say that? Your dad. My dad's, you know where my dad is? That's my dad right there. He's actually in this box right here. Can you see the box?
Yeah.
With the pit guy. This is my dad in here. He's in this. That's his. That's where he is. But anyway, so your dad would be so. How can I go, Mom? You don't like my stuff. It gets you wired up. You're 90 years old. You should be sitting in a fucking couch right now watching TV. Why are you worried about politics? Let me worry about politics.
Yeah. Chill and play some bridge.
I don't follow your shit. Don't follow mine.
Yeah.
And she'll like write stuff like ha 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 and shit. It's like
it's fun. It's funny.
She's the opposite too. My wife. So I'll be going on about politics and fucking this and fucking. She goes, John, I can hear you. But anyway,
it's a tricky time. I'm reading it's a biography on Benjamin Franklin, and I get so fascinated because as he was going through these social clubs and everything, like we each all have our own individual beliefs, and part of it is, do you keep those belief secrets and politics on your own? But then you want to reach out. Well, what he did, he had aliases. He was printing all the newspapers, but he'd write articles in all of his different points of views, because he even knew his business could be affected. Like you're saying, keep it secret, because it sucks to a certain extent. I'm in a small town. I got a small business. If I piss off the wrong customer base, I don't get fucking business no more.
Yeah, I do the opposite. I go one way. I'll talk about my martial arts on my political one. But my good friends know where this is going. But it's like all the way like it's brutal. I love doing it. Stephen, do you know Like there's some guys out there like Steven Crowder.
Yeah, Louder Crowder. Yeah.
He said like I know him, and he's like we were talking about me breaking into like doing. He goes, "No, you'll never make it, man." And I'm like, why? He goes, because both sides aren't gonna like your stuff because it's too brutal, and even the right doesn't want to hear that kind of shit because there's so many religious guys that are on the right.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear me saying this, that, and the other thing.
Hey, logic only goes so far, and then you get, it's hard. Yeah,
it's fucking. It's my own like. I feel so good to do it. It's like I yell and I scream and and then I feel so good. My wife sometimes she laughs. She's like, "John, I can hear you, and I'm a Democrat. How can you say that about all Democrats?" I go, anyway, but she just laughs.
That's my dad, man. He goes, anytime. Any fucking time my mom says something stupid, I say something stupid or anything, he goes, fucking Democrat. And that's like his, like, it's just every
go-to
time, or something. But
I say that all the time. I always, like, anything stupid comes up, like the gender stuff. I always think of my wife and go, that's your guys. That's you and your people.
That's your side.
I blame her for everything. And she loves guns. So it's like, she sleeps with a gun. She fucking, she has her own business. She hates the tax things, but then she likes to play the Democrat because their family's Democratic. And then that way it gives, like, they think they're cuter and shit. Cause like, little Obama, he would dance on Ellen show. So they're like
they're just so morally justified.
Yeah.
They're
woke.
They're fun. They're cute. They're cute. And they're fun to mess with because just the majority of them are so weak and it's just fun. It's fun,
Yeah.
But I tell them it's like if I'm with a bunch of them, like at a get together with her family.
Back.
Here's Isaiah Rocha and Isaiah Hughes, two of my top guys. He's been with me since he's 4 years old, and he's been with me since he's 6.
That's crazy.
Badass, man.
They were actually gonna bodyguard me, and they're both fighters. He's 185 and he's 135. But yeah, and they're like my fucking son. They're like my sons. I love them. But they were gonna bodyguard me on because they're both over 21 now. They were gonna bodyguard me on my 60th because I was gonna get drunk for the first time. I've never been drunk. So
that's crazy.
I've never been drunk, and so my wife was so excited. She was, I can't wait to see you drunk. And but I was scared that I was like get drunk alone, then I'm gonna fucking do stupid shit and somebody's gonna fucking stab me or something. So they were gonna bodyguard me, and we're gonna go downtown San Luis Obispo and just go to the different bars, and they weren't allowed to touch any beer or alcohol.
What is it? Harry's there right on the pier?
That's Pismo, yeah. But I would never go there. But I actually had a gun pulled on me at Harry's. I went there one time in my life, and that one time I went, I swear to God, I had a gun pulled on me the first and only time I went to Harry's. I'll never go back.
Wow.
It was fucking, it was bizarre. But then I was drinking at a fight. I was at a Bellator fight or something, and then we were drinking. I didn't get drunk, but the guy I was talking to got really drunk, and I was like, he seems stupid. So I told my wife, I go, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna get drunk on my birthday. So I did.
Well, shit, man, you've made it this far, but you're gonna have to do it once, sometime.
I'm not gonna get drunk. I'll do a lot of stupid shit, but that's not one of them.
That's good, man. That's good.
Yeah. What's some of the rules you live your life by, John? Give us a couple rules.
You never ever cheat, because that's my biggest one. That's my biggest regret. If I could change one thing besides sparring so much when I was younger, it would be not cheating on my women, because I feel like I've hurt a lot of people and they didn't deserve it, and I was just I rationalized it in my own little brain, and it was fucking stupid as shit. There's no excuse. Even if they go, well, if she knew it and she stayed, that just means you're more of a douchebag. There's no excuse. So that would be my biggest one. The only other ones I have is just the way I train. So Because other than that, to be honest, man, the choices I made in my life at 60, I look back at them now and where I am now, man, I thank God every single day for all the right choice, like going to school and becoming a nurse. That was
Yeah.
like one of the that was a great time. You know,
Yeah.
not doing drugs like almost everyone else in my, that I knew growing up. Boom. Not doing, doing some of the crimes that my buddies were doing coming up. Boom. The only thing, fighting, I probably wouldn't have been a fighter my whole life. That kind of made my life not as fun as it could be, because I didn't really enjoy fighting. Like my guys now, they love fighting. I'm in the dressing when I was in the dressing room, I was like, fuck, I can't wait. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him. Oh. And then I would get out there and fight. But my guys, they love it. Glover's like in a party in the dress. Chuck used to be like in a party in the dress room. And they'd be looking at me like, Coach, relax. What's the matter? I was like, you got to, come on. You know the guy might do this. You got to do this. He goes, I know. Let's relax now. It's fine. So I'll tell you the funniest thing that Glover did when he was fighting Rampage.
Yeah.
We're walking out. It's a UFC fight. It's a main event. I think, yeah, it was the main event, I think. But anyway, fucking, dozens of people walking out there. And I don't know if you know how a walkout is, but it's fucking like everybody's walking out there. And Glover knows how nervous I get. I get more nervous than all my fighters ever do. I actually break down in the corner sometimes, like in the corner of the dress room, like sobbing, like I don't know what to do. And they're like, Coach, come on. But they know, but I'm great in the corner when the fight starts. I'm great.
Yeah. Yeah, seeing you in the corner.
But he's walking out, and it's like he stops. Like the whole parade. There's a caravan. What is it called? A caravan, whatever. There's a bunch of people walking out there, and he stops. And he turns to me, and goes, Coach, I don't want to do this, man. I don't want to do this. What should I do? And he knows I would just pull him right out. I don't care. Yeah. So I looked at him. I go, and then he laughed. He goes, I'm kidding, Coach. I'm kidding. Let's go have some fun.
Oh shit!
And then he went out there and beat the shit out of Rampage.
Yeah. Hell yeah, that was He showed out on that one. How much? I mean, fuck, man. It was always the talk, of him not getting in the UFC early enough. That had to hurt a little bit, huh? But he finally got in, and
it did hurt a lot, and now he's people don't know what a kind of guy he is. Like he runs a fucking successful gym with like more students than most martial arts gyms will ever have. And then he has a fitness class. Okay, he trains kids and adults. Then he has a fight team that he coaches, and he has fighters in PFL, Bellator, and UFC. And let's just forget all that. That's more than most guys will ever do. And he's a competitive UFC contender himself.
Yeah.
So he's juggling all that shit. I could never imagine. I won a world title. I was a registered nurse. I raised my kids. I did all that while I was fighting too, but I wasn't fighting in the UFC.
At
that level,
high of a level.
No, my fights were as high as they could go at that time.
Yeah.
But it's like if I was fighting at Tachi Palace.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's unbelievable. I can't imagine doing what Glover and Ramsey Nijam does. He does the same thing. He has his own school. He has a pit in Salt Lake City.
Where's Court McGee now? How's everything going with him?
He's here right now. I think he's actually he's driving here because he wants to spend the week here. And we're gonna hang out, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where are you right now? Yeah, I'll see where he is. But he's actually driving. He wanted to go over some stuff, and I'm kind of like the mentor guy,
Right.
So we're gonna go over some stuff, and then he'll go home. He'll probably spend like 3 or 4 days here, and then drive home. It's like a 10-hour drive.
So can you talk a little bit about the old school IFC fights back in the day? Because you were talking a little bit earlier about how things were changed last minute and opponents were switched around and all that kind of stuff. And I've heard some stories about that. I mean, can you shed a little light on how that was back in Northern California back then?
You mean what? What?
The IFC fights
Yeah, that's
that
the
were
one.
going on.
I think the only one that Chuck had was Heath. I think.
Yeah, I think he fought in that one, but there was a bunch of guys
Not my guy.
from Chuck's and a couple guys
What?
corners back then.
Yeah, he might have been. I don't really. To be honest, I remember the Tachi Palace WEC. I remember those days.
Mhm.
I remember the smokers, which before it was legal. I remember doing the smoker fights.
Where guys are fighting multiple times in a night and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it was illegal. I remember getting busted. I remember getting raided when it was illegal. We were fighting in Temecula. I remember that. But yeah, I don't remember that other. I remember the WC. That's when it's just any fight organizations. You know, it was the lower level, like boxing when you fight in a smoker and shit. It's just. It's just old school. I don't even know how to explain it.
How do you feel about camo right now? The fact that there is a sanctioned amateur, there's sanctioned amateur fights now in MMA.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I like it. I like it for the most part. I'm not really big on like the whole socialist communist thing where, they're telling you everything, and I don't like being told this. I do like the fact that they're checking, the blood work and stuff. I like that part. I think that should be handled by the promoters, not by a governing organization. But whatever, at least it's being done. And I like the fact that all medical things are taken care of. To me, that's the biggest benefit. Other than that, I don't think there is a benefit, to be honest. Well, but that's the biggest one.
I promoted fights for a while, and there was a couple smokers there that were fundraisers, so to speak. And then as soon as we got them involved, it was a lot of money for what was provided versus the profession. Exactly. So there's something there, but I thought, that's cool.
I promoted a fight one time, and I wasn't going to get the commission involved, so I called it a tournament, but it was a fight. Now, so what I did but I wanted all the guys covered. I didn't want them to sign a waiver. I wanted them covered. So I went out and bought insurance, and it still ended up being a lot cheaper than bringing the commission and the fucking the judges and the refs. I just got my buddy to ref, some of my buddies to judge, and then I bought insurance so everybody was covered. And then I promoted a fight, and then the last minute somebody tried to turn me in, and the commission, I swear to God, the commission called me, and they go, "Hey John, we heard you're promoting a fight." I go, "It's a fucking tournament, guys." "Whoa, we heard it's gonna be like this and this." I go, "Oh, he's at Bakersfield, so courts in Bakersfield. He's driving here from Vegas." But anyway, So they were gonna shut me down. They were like threatening to shut me down. They were saying, "Well, we'll call the sheriff, and they're gonna come shut you down." I go, "Do what you want to do. I'm gonna have a tournament, and if you want to shut me down, but do it." And they didn't, and we had a fight. It was fights, and I, like I said, I got the insurance, and that's the only thing I like about commissions. Other than that, I think they're just it's like socialism. It's like Big Brother, but whatever.
It's a monopoly per the state. But yeah, well, right on, man. Yeah, we had it was fun in Stockton. There was my kickboxing coach for a while. That's what he threw the fights, and it was a wild scene. But Neil Amos I trained under him for a while.
Oh, I don't know that.
Yeah. But there we seen everything go from Hell's Angels being security to finally
the lights going out.
At least you could get in there, win, lose, get beat up, and then and you didn't have to hide it. But
that's a smoker. That's what we used to do. Like
just smokers all day.
Everybody weighs in, and then always if there's a Thai guy, if there's a Thai coach, you know that you can't trust him because he's gonna bring out this guy he just brought from like Guadalajara Stadium.
With 100 fights.
Yeah, and he's gonna go, he never fight before. Never fight before. And then the like the fucking weight. He'll always lie about the weight. No, he light. Yeah, he never make it. And he weighs fucking 20 pounds heavy. He's had 800 fights. So say, never fight before. So every time we go to these goddamn these smokers, most of them are at Thai gyms in LA or Santa Clarita. And we always like say, you're lying. You're a liar, but that's okay. So anyway, that's where we started and ended up in the UFC. So
yeah, man, kicking ass, taking names, badass.
Yeah,
it's crazy to look back and how long you've been able to stay consistent as a coach and still having students go in the UFC and stuff like that. I mean, nowadays gyms close down and they'll open up for a year and close down and move locations, and you've been really consistent with the Pit, which is incredible.
I've been here since '85. I started in LA in '85, then I moved here in '90. So I've been here since '90, and it's not going anywhere, man. I'm gonna retire here and stay here and have maybe Johnny. I always wanted Johnny to take it over, but he's not as into martial arts nowadays. So I don't know if he will, but I got a lot of proteges coming up that'll take it over when I step aside and just say, take charge, and I'm promoting guys, and it's just if kids need martial arts and the military, I was lucky enough to do both. But
thank you for your service.
Oh, thanks. But you need one or the other. And if you're not going to be in the military, you need martial arts. Every young man does. So that's just what I say.
Some form of discipline whatsoever, direction and discipline.
Yeah.
Well, John, I mean, we've, I think we can wrap up here, man. I love if you'd be on, maybe we could check in a while, see what's going on with you, and get some updates, man.
Yeah,
I'm here,
really
man.
appreciate it, brother.
I appreciate it with you guys, man. I'm just a karate guy trying to not get my ass whooped. And my mom always taught me three things. She always taught me three things. She said, you can't ever have too much mayonnaise, because she loved mayonnaise. She used to put mayonnaise on her hair. She said, she did. She used to put mayonnaise on it. She said, you can't unsay something, and you can never unsuck a cock. She taught me those three lessons in life, and I've stuck by them, because there's times were hard back in the day, where I might have done that, but it always stuck in my head. Like, I can't undo that.
$20 is $20, but I can't fucking take that back. Fucking A, man.
Oh, man. Well, again, man, thank you very much for being a part of this. We appreciate it.
Anytime, man.
You have a good one, man.
All right, bro. Thanks. See you guys.
Thank you, John.
All right, brother.